The Aorus X7 is a powerful gaming laptop with some pretty nice specs, but how well does it perform in different games? I've benchmarked 16 different games at all setting levels to show you how well it runs and help you decide if it's worth it. Just quickly, before we jump into the benchmark results, I'll cover off the specs in my unit. There's an Intel i7-8850H CPU which can be overclocked, Nvidia GTX 1080 graphics, and 16GB of memory running at DDR4 2666 and dual channel. It's also got a 144Hz screen, so hopefully with these powerful specs we should be able to take advantage of the higher refresh rate panel. The Aorus X7 by default is running with the normal fan speed profile, and while running in this, the fans are at normal speeds, but the CPU is capped to a 40W TDP, with the default clock speeds. I figure if you're buying a laptop with these specs, you'll probably run it in the max fan profile instead, which boosts the max TDP to 55W and overclocks all 6 cores to 4.3GHz. So this is how I've done my testing. It is possible to further boost the power limit of the CPU and overclock higher, but I'll cover that in depth in the full review. As for now, I think what I've selected is a fair option that most people would probably end up using. Other than that, I was running Windows 10 with all updates applied and these Nvidia drivers. So let's see how well it runs. Fortnite was tested with the replay feature, and even at epic settings, the average frame rate was close to the refresh rate of the screen, with even the 1% low result still above 100fps, with even higher results at lower settings, although it ran perfectly smoothly at epic anyway. Overwatch was tested playing in the practice range, and once again, very high average frame rates even at epic settings, although the 1% low results are quite low comparatively, though still good overall, and the 300fps cap could be hit at medium and low settings. Shadow of the Tomb Raider was tested with a built-in benchmark. I still haven't tested this out on too many laptops yet, but the average frame rates look pretty good here compared to the others I have tried it on, with 100fps and above at high settings or below. PUBG was tested using the replay feature, and although this is a less optimized game, we're able to get some pretty good frame rates, with above 100fps averages possible at high settings or below, and the lower settings are actually allowing us to put the 144Hz display to use. CSGO was tested using the Uletical benchmark, and the results are fairly high here for a laptop, over 400fps at minimum settings on 1080p, with the 1% low result not too far behind the refresh rate of the display. Rainbow Six Siege was tested with the built-in benchmark, and was another that ran well at basically all setting levels, with 1% lows at ultra setting levels not far behind the refresh rate of the display, so even the dips in performance weren't bad. Far Cry 5 was also tested with the built-in benchmark, and the results for this test are pretty good, almost averaging 100fps at ultra settings with up to 120 seen at low settings. Assassin's Creed Origins is another game that I've tested using the built-in benchmark, and here we're seeing pretty good results for this somewhat intensive test. Even at ultra high settings, the frame rates are pretty decent, as I don't personally think this game needs a high frame rate to play. Dota 2 was tested using an intensive replay as a worst case scenario. These results do not represent real gameplay, which would perform higher, but are comparable to my previous Dota 2 benchmarks. Testing Battlefield 1 in the first campaign mission ran well at all setting levels, although the 1% low results were a fair bit below the averages. However, I didn't personally really notice any dips in performance while playing, and this doesn't really change much at lower settings anyway. Watch Dogs 2 is a demanding game, although it doesn't really need a high frame rate to play, but despite this, even at ultra settings we've got pretty nice results and still very playable, with not too much of a difference as we drop the setting levels down. Ghost Recon is another demanding game and was tested using the built-in benchmark, and we're just able to average 60fps in this test at ultra settings, so still playable, though a much better experience at pretty much any other setting level. The Witcher 3 was playing great at all setting levels, though I did have Hairworks disabled here. Above 100fps averages at ultra settings in this game are pretty nice results for a laptop, and these increase a fair bit as we step down in settings. Doom was tested using Vulkan, and as usual we're getting high frame rates for this game. It ran perfectly smoothly for me while playing even on ultra settings, with 1% lows still above 100fps, and not too far below the refresh rate of the display. Shadow of War was tested with the built-in benchmark, and yet again pretty good results for these specs, with very high settings or below getting us past 100fps with quite a big improvement seen at lower settings. Ashes of the Singularity was tested using the built-in benchmark with DirectX 12, and was tested as a more CPU-intensive game to try and show what to expect from these higher-end laptop specs. All of the games tested are giving us pretty nice results. I think this is only the second or third laptop I've ever had with Nvidia GTX 1080 graphics, and paired with an overclockable CPU, we're seeing really good results, although performance does depend on the specific game and settings in use. So how do you guys think the Aorus X7 gaming laptop did in these games? As we've seen, it's performing extremely well for a laptop, even with max settings in most games, thanks to the powerful 8850H and GTX 1080 combination. And as we've got that 144Hz display too, it's providing an excellent gaming experience. Let me know what you guys thought about the laptop's performance down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for the full review of the Aorus X7 gaming laptop, as well as future tech videos like this one.